last month I did some comic critiques for people in my community and I really enjoyed it. I got really good feedback, so I'm going to do it again. Let's not waste any time and go straight into the first one. So this one is from Christoph, and in English, this comic is called The Crimson Code. I'm not going to do the Czech pronunciation because nobody wants to hear me butcher a language. Now, straight away, we can see that Christoph is an amazing comic artist. Fantastic. He uses watercolor and ink. He's a traditional artist. And the first thing that you'll notice is that his character designs are absolutely wonderful. They're really, really stunning. And one of his big strengths are, as you can see, facial expressions. And before I jump into like the full critique, I just want to give some love to this expression in particular, because that is not easy to do. And the reason it's not easy to do is because when you've got like a big sort of expression where you're showing big emotions, that's easier to do because you don't have to rely on subtlety for it. You can sort of like really stretch and pull and push the face. Whereas if it's a subtle expression like this one, that's a lot harder. And I think he's absolutely nailed it. And the reason why I think he's nailed it is because you can see what she's thinking, and that's really, really difficult to do. So I just want to give some love to that before I crack on. Now, the first thing that he mentioned was word balloon placement is something that he's slightly concerned about and not really sure all the time whether the word balloons are in the right place. And I think that by and large, as you go through this comic, I think the word balloon placements are fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with them, except for one. There's one that I bumped into, which was on this page. And to demonstrate that, I'm going to show you how I read this, like in what order I read this and where my eyes went on the page. So I started off with this skull character because it looks awesome. And then you sort of go from there and you look at the background details. But the next place is this guy, because you've got high contrast. You've got this guy who's black and white and against a red background. Very eye-catching, very cool. But then you follow him down because he sort of like curves in this direction and you bump into this word balloon. And you're not supposed to read that word balloon first. You're supposed to read that word balloon fourth. So I would suggest that move that word balloon down to about here. And that solves that problem because all the other ones are fine. I mean, I could probably nitpick, but I think all the other ones are absolutely fine because they don't really overlap. And I think that's the main problem here is that both this word balloon and this character are both outside the panels. And so they're almost touching. So they are very, very, very close. And there's no panel border to separate them. And so that's where the confusion comes from. So I'd watch for that. But that's it. That's the only one where I was really like, oh yeah, this one definitely needs to move. But all the other ones are fine. So yeah, that's all good. Now, when it comes to the main thing actually with this 6-page sequence is that the pacing is a little bit too fast because we've got this initial scene here, right, where the cockerel character is arguing with the snake character, and this page ends with the snake character going off to do something else. And then we go to this page where we've switched scenes and we've denoted this with later on, so we know that some time has passed. That's fine. But there's one of the things that you have to look out for when you're introducing either a new character or a new scene is set up and payoff. And I'll explain what I mean by that with this shark character. So she wakes up. First of all, before I continue, I love the hair curlers. That's hilarious. That's really cool. It's really funny. So we got this shark character in these two panels here, and then we switch to the dog character. Now, we don't know anything about what she's doing other than the fact she's been woken up by something. And there's obviously this alarm or something that's going on, which has disturbed him. And he's come out into the crowd, pushed his way through to the front, and then they're all looking up at something. What they're looking up at, we don't know. Now I'm going to circle this character, this character, this character, and this character, because I think they're the four that we're going to see again very shortly. Now I'm going to come back to this page, but this is page 3, and then we go to page 4, and these are the 4 characters again. So, oh God, I've done it again. I keep deleting your work, Christoph. Right. These 4, okay? Now, I have 2 questions. 1, how did they get from where they were to where they are now? And 2, where are they in relation to the snake character? So spatial awareness, or when I say spatial awareness, I mean spatial awareness for the reader's sake. So I don't know how they got there. Do I need to know that? Maybe, maybe not. But I would suggest that because of the action that takes place on page 3, oh my God, I've done it again. Because of the action that takes place on page 3, I'm assuming that this is at the start of the obstacle course, or at least, at the very least, this is. And it's the lights coming on that has set off the alarm that has alerted everyone else, right? So these 2 events are happening very, very close together, I think. So then we go from these guys who are outside, I don't know how far away they are, maybe they're just outside the obstacle course, and that's where all the tents are. And then they go from outside to here in 1 page. Like we got that page with this page here where the character is jumping through, and then this page, and they're all there. Now, so that's point number 1. Point number 2 is, where are they in relation to her? Are they looking at her live so they can physically see her, or are they looking at a screen? Because if they can they see her, or can they not see her? I think that's important, because it would imply, based on the color of the background, that they are in the same location. And so how did they get there so quickly and quick enough to be able to see her? None of that is told throughout the story. And because, unless I've got this wrong, she's trying to get from the start of the obstacle course to the end to shut it down, right? So I think it's important that we see that like we can see a shot of her perhaps in the distance, because the other issue I've got with this scene, although it's very beautifully drawn, is that I've got no sense of where she is in relation to her goal. So even if this looks like right at the very start, and it looks like she's jumping through something, I'm assuming that's at the very start. Is that at the end? Is that still at the start? Is that at the end? Is that still at the start? I don't know. The reason that I'm going on about this so much is because I know it's quite a big plot point, or it's a big part of the story, is that she's going through to the end, or at least she's going through and she's finding herself here to turn this off, which is the big sort of AI thing. Oh my God, if I do that again, I'm going to go mental. So that would be the biggest thing that I would say, is that you are a very character-focused comic creator. Like, you care a lot about the characters, which is, very normal. Most of us only really care about the characters because they're the most interesting things. So that's totally understandable. But I think you should give more love to the backgrounds, just to show us where the characters are in relation to each other. And in this very specific case, where she is in relation to her goal of pulling down the lever. Because if you add that in, then there's no confusion here. And similar to this word balloon, when we go through a comic and we're reading a comic, and there are parts where we're like, hang on, where are we? How did they get there? It's not often enough to stop you from reading, to be like, I'm not reading this comic anymore. And I think that's the case here. I don't think these are enough to get anyone to stop reading, but it's the equivalent of, like, imagine you're watching a film on Netflix or whatever, and it buffers for like a second. It's not going to stop you from finishing the film, but it's annoying and it's noticeable, and it sort of takes you away from that immersion a little bit. And when we talk about pacing, and the reason we want to ensure that the pacing is good is so we can stop that. And I think that happens with this. And the solution is to show us more of the backgrounds. Now, I know you don't like doing backgrounds, or at least find backgrounds challenging when you're composing the characters within the backgrounds. I mean, there's not much that you can do other than just practice that. But also, don't be afraid to draw your characters really, really small. Because like you look at these, like the characters are still relatively, they take up the majority of the panels in every single one. And same here, like, I mean, granted, you've got that as well, to be fair. But like that, she takes up the majority of the panel to the point where you can barely see the platform that she's going to be landing on. And likewise with here, these guys just take up all the panel. So we've got no spatial awareness of where they are in relation to her. When you're dealing with one character who's doing stuff on their own, I think it's fine. Like, I think that page is absolutely fine. There's nothing to change about that at all. And I've done it again. Sorry, Christoph, I keep writing on your comic. And this last page is freaking amazing. I love it so much. Like that is awesome. So good. Anyway, yeah, sorry, I got distracted by your beautiful art. So yeah, so that's what my main feedback would be. Give more love to the characters and don't be afraid to draw them small, because you can do it clearly because these guys are small and you can see exactly what they're feeling and what they're thinking. Let me zoom in a little bit here so you can see. Like, that's really clear in terms of the body language and the action. So draw some of your characters that small just to give space to the space around them. And yeah, that's it. But otherwise, this is such an amazing comic. I really love it. You should follow Christoph on Instagram. I've got his link in the description of this video. And as soon as this is available worldwide, make sure you snap it up because it is really, really good. So this one is by Daniel McGuinness. This is Duckling Star. And this is like a sci-fi comedy sort of book. First of all, this is a really funny comic. Daniel's got a really great imagination and a great sense of humor. And that comes through a lot in this comic. So if you like sci-fi that's funny as well, then you're going to really like this comic. Now, one of the things that we talked about before I did this video was character design. And what I want to talk about here is silhouette. The reason why we talk about silhouette so much. And here's a perfect example. So we've got this ship here, which is a CCTV ship. It's like a security ship. And then we've got this ship here, which is much, much smaller. And it's like a welcome ship, right? So let me give myself some more room. So one of the issues that we've got with this is that they look very, very, very similar. And bear in mind that people are looking at the panels for like a second. So when people look at things for like a second, they're looking at the big shapes first, not necessarily the details. And so if you're relying too much on details, then you run the risk of things getting missed and things getting confused. And that's what happened for me when I first read this. I thought they were the same ship because I'm scanning the panels and I'm mostly reading, like scanning the images, then reading the words, and then going on to the next panel. That's broadly speaking how people experience comics. So to show you this, we've got, wow, that's a good circle. Look at that. 1 and 2. These are the two main shapes of both of these ships. So when we're talking about silhouette, we need to think, okay, what shapes can you add to this or combine with these to break that silhouette, to stop it being just a circle? Now, I know on the CCTV one, you have the CCTV going above the silhouette of the circle, and that's fine. And you've got the beak coming out of the other one, and that's also fine. But the problem that you have is the problem that is in this page here, which is that when you turn the ship or you foreshorten those things, it loses its impact and it sort of becomes a circle again. So, and you can see that if you compare this to this, like if you look at those two, like that silhouette is much different to that one because the beak is foreshortened on the first one. But there's something else we can do. Because you use a lot of duck sort of symmetry, imagery in this, you can lean further into that. And like if you look at Daffy Duck, for example, he's got those sort of tuft of hair above his head. I think Donald does as well. So maybe lean into that a bit more as well and have the welcome ship have like 1 or 2 tufts of hair like that. And then you've got the beak. How have you drawn it? Let me just copy you. The beak like that. And then we've got the speaker in the mouth. Beep, 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 beep. And then we've got the says welcome. So that's a really cool design, right? Like having the beak come out and the speaker in the mouth it reminds me, it's like those toy ducks that you can squeeze and it quacks. So again, really funny, really clever, really cool. And then once you've got that established, that's when you can sort of add the things and the details, and you can put the space stuff on it. But you need to make sure that that is maintained. And all I've done really is add this part, right? So now that already looks significantly different to what this is going to look like, because this has got these spikes. So it doesn't matter whether the ship is turned or where it is located. As long as you see those two spikes, you can identify that, oh, that's the welcome bot thing. So the CCTV thing, again, you've already got the idea because you've got this lens that comes out, but maybe like you want to push that even further. So it really comes out. Because again, that's where you're going to see, okay, that these are clearly two very different things. And then you can wrap that around there like that and beep, beep, beep. And then you can put the CCTV, something like that, right? And then again, that's when you can add all of the stuff on top. Also, the other reason why you'd want the lens to be bigger is because if I just get rid of my drawings and bring up this page here, because as we go to this page, we see that our character comes out of this. Now, this is a really difficult panel to pull off because you're drawing people things from perspective, and that's really hard. But to be fair, from the character that you drew, I think you absolutely nailed that. That looks great. Like, that's a top-down view. It's really hard to pull off, and I think you've pulled it off. I think it's fantastic. I think what lets it down is the entrance to this. And again, it's really hard to draw circles in perspective. Like, they become ellipses. So if you imagine, like, that's the circle, and that's when we're looking straight at it, which is what this looks like. It looks like we're looking straight at it, but we know that she's coming out in this direction and that we should be looking on top of it. So as you get a circle, and you can do this with like a coin or anything that's circular, and just sort of tilt it, you'll notice that as it tilts, it sort of does, this is a really bad example, but hopefully you'll understand what I mean. Kind of goes flatter and flatter and flatter. And when it's like that, that's when we're looking directly down on it. So like, if you imagine you're looking directly down on that, it's basically flat. And then as it tilts towards you, that's when it becomes more and more of a circle. So for this shot here, I'd probably use like that as the doorway, the opening or whatever. But I have another suggestion, which is, let me see here. If I just reduce the opacity of this page, you see this part here of the ship. I was looking at that and I was like, why doesn't that open? Like, if that could open up and then she could sort of descend down. And the reason I suggested that is because A, it's easier to draw, so that's always a plus. But B, it sets up the joke. I think it sets up the joke anyway. And we'll go through what the joke is very shortly. But what you could do is you could put like the CCTV thing there, and you can like put the lens there or something, and it's doing that. And then you've got CCTV, right? And then that's a camera. And then you could show the bottom here. And maybe this opens up like, oh wait, that would be like that, wouldn't it? 1, 2, 3, maybe another one there. So it's like it sort of opens up like that. And then you could have like these things come down, like a little platform that comes down. And you could do that. And then you've got your character there, and maybe she's like striking a superhero pose or something, and she's maybe holding on or whatever. And you've got the pigtails. And you could do all of this in silhouette. So you don't have to reveal the character. You're just seeing her. And maybe you put like a load of smoke down to show that It's like a dramatic entrance, right? And the reason why I think that this works with the joke is because you've intentionally, and I assume this is a joke anyway, you've intentionally ramped up the drama in this scene, which is really funny because, like, you know, we're seeing her slowly walk towards this vending machine and she's standing like with purpose, and like we've got that manga inspired. You can almost hear the sound effect when you see that, and then it's like she's got her head down and she lifts it up and like glare, and it's like this big dramatic thing. And then we go to the next page and it's her in front of a vending machine, and the big sort of action set piece of this is her getting a coin out ready to put it in the vending machine. Really good gag, right? But if we add in this, it's sort of I don't know, for me, I think it elevates it a bit more and it makes it a bit more clear about what's going on. Because again, I didn't put 2 and 2 together because I didn't imagine that this was anything that anyone could walk out of. But maybe that's just me. Now, for the joke itself, I think it works. It made me laugh when I first read this. So, you know, thumbs up from there. But I think that there's some things that you could change. There's 2 panels on this third page here that you could change. And the first, the 2 panels are this one and this one. Now, I'm not going to redraw them, but I think because the joke is about the coin, right? It's about her getting out the coin. It's really dramatic. And like, you know, she flicks it up in the air and then catches it in her fingers, or catches it like that. And it's ta-da, she's got the coin. Funny, good. But you could build up to that a little bit more, because if you think about it, we've got this shot of her walkie-talkie, and then she's flicking something up in the air, but we don't see it. And then we got the shot of her baton, and then she catches the coin. So that's where we confirm that it is a coin. Instead, what you could do is in that first panel, show her like getting something out of her pocket or open up her purse or whatever, I don't know. And then she flicks it up in the air. And then the panel where she's this baton, we could show like the coin flipping up in the air. And then the fourth panel, that's when she catches it. And then you do the big reveal. That's the only thing that I would recommend. So I think for you, keep working on the fundamentals, keep practicing, keep drawing, keep going. You've got nothing to worry about when it comes to your sense of humor. I think it's great. You've certainly got nothing against your imagination. And I don't want to spoil the rest of this, but like your alien designs, I think are really cool. And the world you've created is really cool as well. It's just make sure that when you're designing those things, just push the shapes a little bit more and break the silhouettes a little bit more, so that the goal is that as soon as you see it, whatever it is, whether it's a little welcome bot or the CCTV robot or an alien design or anything, that you instantly recognize it and you can instantly tell it apart from other things. That's the main thing. And that, again, that just takes practice. So just keep going, keep drawing, keep making this comic because it's hilarious. And it really made me laugh. So again, the link for you to read this comic is in the description. So give it a read and give Daniel some love. So this is Queens, and this is by Ren with a W, because I've got another Ren in my Discord. Confusing. So I think, first and foremost, this is a wonderful comic. Really, really well drawn. It's a really, really good style that you use, and it's not an easy style. Like that as a panel and that as a piece of design, I think that's really wonderful. It's so good. It's very Mike Mignola. You know who I'm trying to say. I'll put it up on screen because I cannot pronounce his name ever. It's very that, and that is hard to do. I tried it and I'm not very good at it. So that style is very, very good. And it reminds me of my mate's style as well. And I'm always in awe of what he can do. So yeah, the style is fantastic. But what I did really want to point out, so I went all the way back to the start, and this is in 2016. And like this, you know, it's totally fine. You can see that they're obviously still relatively new to drawing, and there's quite a lot of room to improve. Like, remember that, screenshot that in your own mind. And now, look at this. Like, look at that. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Like the growth in 9 years and beautiful. Like in 9 years, it might not seem like much in like that period of time, but that's amazing to me. I love seeing that, where you can see the growth and you can see the confidence and you can see the decision making that's happening over that period of time is becoming more and more and more clear. And that's what progress looks like. So always keep your old stuff. And if you ever doubt yourself, Ren, go back to 2016 and look at what you're doing now. Wow. Anyway, the main concern that Ren had was similar to Christoph in that it was all about the backgrounds. And I think the main problem that you've got, although you're doing it less and less, so you're already figuring it out for yourself. But I found a page, let me find it again, that was a really good example of this. Talk amongst yourselves. Was it this one? Yeah, it was. So we've got this page, this scene. Obviously, this is a vertical comic, and this is extremely prevalent in vertical comics. You'll see it all the time, where like if you take this entire scene, we've got like face, 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 just faces all the time until we get to this shot, which, sorry, took my breath away. Which this shot is amazing. This is like really, really affecting, really powerful. Like that's a great lead up to it as well. Amazing. And also, I want to give some love to that because that is really, really cool. Again, that goes to show the confidence levels here compared to 2016 is unbelievable. So what can you do about this? How can you incorporate the backgrounds more to make these shots a bit more varied and a bit more interesting? Because if we take away the story and we take away the color palettes, which are interesting, and if you take away the style, which is also interesting, it's the same shots over and over again, and it does become boring. Even if the drawings are drawn really well, which obviously they are, even if the story is really good, which it seems to be. I haven't read it all, but it seems to be interesting and engaging. It's going to be boring. And so I feel that I know, and I feel like I know the reason why you don't do backgrounds. And it's something that you said in the Discord, which was that you're worried about inconsistency or backgrounds being inconsistent. And I get that, and it's totally understandable. But there are ways around it. So the best way, the best long-term way, is to ignore that fear as best you can and just draw backgrounds. Because the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get. The other thing you could use are things like Sketchfab. And I know that some people in the Discord even use The Sims for their backgrounds, which I think is genius and I think would apply to you because your setting is in the real world and it's like houses and stuff. So you could use The Sims as reference for that. Or you could use Blender. And that's the one that I really recommend that everyone gets used to, is using Blender, because if you can mock up some 3D environments, then you get rid of that problem. Like your backgrounds no longer become inconsistent, and it actually speeds up your workflow as well. So I would recommend everybody learn Blender. Just take your time with it. There's no rush. Like even over the next 6 months, just get used to the user interface and how to use it and stuff. And use Blender Guru on YouTube. That's who I used. And it's a big part of my workflow is using 3D models. So that's the thing that I would recommend for you, is to just stop overthinking the backgrounds. And to be fair, like I said, you're already starting to do that. Let me go to the latest page. Bosh. Like you're already incorporating, like there are a lot fewer just face shots because we've got a bit more context in the panels here where they're in the car. And you can clearly see they're in the car. And also, to be fair, because of your style, you don't need to over-render the backgrounds. Like that is fine. Like you could do that more often now. I think it's totally fine because the main focus are the characters, right? Another thing that you can do with the backgrounds, particularly if you don't feel ready to learn Blender, is to do a floor plan of the house. And because your settings are mostly in like an urban environment and it's not like a fantastical world, just get a floor plan of a house that actually exists and just use that. Or what you could do is download Blender, which is free, go onto something like TurboSquid and look for free 3D models of houses and just import that into Blender, and you've got a 3D reference that you could do a 360 camera around, and just print screen that, paste it into your comic, and sketch over the top. Done. But yeah, sorry, that was a bit of a tangent. This is like I say, a fantastic comic. And one of the things that you've really got going for you is, so this was updated today. Oh, wow. Is that you're getting votes on your pages, which is very encouraging. And you're getting comments on your pages, which is extremely difficult to get. And you're getting consistent comments from the similar people, which shows that people are coming back for more. Like, they're not just looking at it once thinking, oh, that's quite cool, and then never coming back to it. They're coming back again and again and again. And that shows that you're on the right lines and you're doing the right thing. So I think add backgrounds into your repertoire and just be more confident and comfortable with making backgrounds by just drawing them more into your panels and into your storytelling as well. And just keep going, because the progress you've made over the last 9 years is already amazing. Think about where you're going to be in 9 years from now. Like, it's very exciting. It's very cool. And just like with the others, the link to Queens is in the description. So I really encourage everyone to check out all 3 of these comics, because they're really, really good. And yeah, I really enjoy doing these. If you want to feature in an upcoming critique video next month, then join the Discord. The link is in my channel page, so join that and then let me know if you want your comic to feature, because I really enjoy doing these. It's really good fun. I don't have a segue, so I'm going to let YouTube decide what you should watch next. Hopefully it's one of my videos, and I'll see you later.